Hello, everyone. My name is Alafia Samuels. I'm a professor of public health at the University of the West Indies, and it is my great pleasure to join you today and to ask Reverend Dixon to introduce himself.
Thank you, Prof. I'm Reverend Newton Dixon. I belong to the African Methodist Episcopal Church, and I presently serve as the General Secretary of the Jamaica Council of Churches.
Thank you.
And I am Right Reverend Gary Harriot. I'm past General Secretary of the Jamaica Council of Churches and presently serving as the Moderator for the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cordell Dallas. I am a trained health professional, and I am a member of the Seventh Day Adventist Church, participating in the FAN project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we are here this morning because the University of the West Indies has spent some time over the past year or so, right? We've been working together about a year.
About a year.
Right. So we engaged with the Jamaica Council of Churches because we have this project called the Food and Nutrition Project. And we are logo there, Food for Change Caribbean. And basically what we are saying is that we recognize that unhealthy eating is a major driver of Jamaicans being a sick population. This is how the minister spoke about it the other day. Jamaica and the Caribbean, our people are sick. And the reason, one of the main reasons we are sick is because we are not eating properly. And we are not eating the foods in the way that God has provided them to us. And I think this is one of the main messages that we are trying to get across with this. So what we have been doing, we engage with the Jamaica Council of Churches, and we want to be able to bring the religious aspect and the health aspect together to educate persons and give them skills and so on so that they can eat better and have a better life. So Reverend Dixon, talk to me a little bit now about the interaction that we have had over the past year. What did you think when I called you first?
We actually had, just before your call at that time, had a conversation about ways we could impact our people's health, how we can bring a new awareness to them concerning some of the issues which we were facing. And I think it was just about the time when we were beginning to raise concerns about how the pandemic was having a deleterious effect on how people were eating.
And it had a deleterious effect, especially on those people already living with chronic diseases, the diabetes, the hypertension, and so on.
Exactly. Yes. So it was fortuitous for us to have had this encounter with you at that time, because it has really provided a vehicle, almost ready-made, for us to dovetail into, to get some of the initiatives that we want to see in the wider space implemented, especially with respect to health, healthy eating, and well-being.
Let me ask Reverend Harriot, how did you get involved with this process and what has it been like?
Right. Well, when I was at JCC as General Secretary, we were engaging the subject matter. In fact, I remember an early stage of this journey. I had attended 2 of the sessions. So JCC, connecting with the World Council of Churches, health issues are always on the agenda of the World Council of Churches. And so we were involved on this issue of both physical health, mental health, as a part of our mission understanding. I often say that when people come to church, it's not just a spirit that has come.
Right.
It's a total human being.
Right.
Absolutely.
And therefore, the church in its ministry and mission must be concerned about people. Your physical self, your emotional and spiritual self, your total self. And so it fits very well into the church understanding of its mission and ministry to engage issues about people's health and well-being. And so I remember participating through the World Council of Churches with some churches in the US and their health department, where they were engaged in what they call health promoting churches. Mm-hmm. And we actually had the opportunity of going to some churches and seeing how they were catering for this. So some of them would have places for members to exercise, walking tracks. They would have their no smoking signs up. Their food that they offer to people. Some of them have these feeding programs, and they ensure that it was the standard of the food, the health standards were there. So they never just spoke, but they acted.
Right.
And those of us who had gone and come back were really inspired to see the church in action, promoting health and well-being.
Good. Yes, good.
So what has happened is, I think no less than about 8 pastors from about 6 denominations, this was a truly ecumenical exercise, were involved in creating the sermons. And then, as you will probably relate to our audience later, the sermons went through a rigorous review process of another group of persons who reviewed the sermons. We wanted to make sure that the biblical soundness was there, the theological relevance, and the applications were good. So the review process sort of bolstered many, if not all, of the sermons to make them a little more strong,
make them stronger
and complete.
Yes.
The Bible studies were created to dovetail into each sermon. So a pastor will have two fundamental resources: the sermon for the audience on Sabbath or Sunday, and the Bible study to expand and to focus on the applications. How do we practice what we've learned from the scriptures and from the sermon in practicing healthy lifestyles? So the Bible studies really relate more to how we integrate the health science with the biblical teachings.
Right. And of course, in addition to the sermons and Bible studies, we're also going to be creating some online resources that both your pastors and the congregations can use. Because we know there's so much health information, but we're not trying to do everything.
Exactly.
But what we want to do is that we want to create links that, if you have an interest in X thing, suppose you have diabetes and you want to see, what are the recommendations, there would be a place where you could go and it would just give you, very briefly, of course, the kinds of things that you should be looking for.
Right.
The other thing that we are promoting is something called a chronic care passport. So this is something that has been created by the Pan American Health Organization, endorsed by the Ministry of Health in Jamaica as well as regionally. And what it is, it's a passport basically, but it's your health passport.
Okay.
So if you have diabetes, you may, be in one place this week and then you go to visit your daughter somewhere else. This would be your own record that you walk with. And it would have in all your different numbers and what you're supposed to eat and when so on and so forth. And it's your record. So you would have control and ownership over your health. And that's the idea. So that's another resource that could be made available, to the churches and to the congregants if they so want it. Sure. So Cordell, let's talk to you now.
Sure.
Yes. Cordell, you introduced yourself earlier and you said you were a public health professional working with the project. Tell me about the engagement that you have had with the project and what you have done and what it has meant.
Okay, I got involved with the project. I knew about it through a colleague of mine. She had placed information in our WhatsApp group and it sounded very interesting. So I called Catherine the same night and got on board. And I must say that I am very, very happy that I got involved with the project. Reason being, as a health professional and also with my secular work, I realized that persons out there are in need of accurate nutrition information, because too many times they say people say, and what they say people say really is totally inaccurate. And what fascinated me also was the fact that it was going to be faith-based, church and community. And I got on board and my church was very responsive. And also the fact that I'm a dietitian by profession, I think it really equipped me to get my activities done and to get the information out to the persons. As a matter of fact, my church has bought into the idea lock, stock, and barrel. I'm telling you.
Good.
So I want to say kudos to you all with a great idea. Very well done.
Thank you. So tell us now the kinds of things that you were doing in your activity in your church. What were you sharing?
Okay, sharing information, because what I started on was foundation in terms of trying to get the congregation to understand the importance of nutrition. So what I did was an introduction to nutrition. I did the multi-mix principle. I had dental presentation because I wanted the congregation to realize that it's not just food, it starts in the mouth. It starts with your oral health and how important it is in aiding your nutrition. So I started there, and then I built on the introduction to nutrition, food groups, and so forth. And I got other health professionals involved. There are persons in my church who are really love the kitchen. And so that was how I approached it. So it was I may be biased, but from my end, it went across very well.
If I may interject here, Prof, one of the things, and I'm so happy to hear Cordell's testimony, as we would say in church. One of the things that is particularly important about this project is that it is located in the local churches. So what we really want to do is to empower the local churches, is to provide the local churches with resources, the pastor and the leaders, the local leaders. So the PHP, one of which is here and presenting her experience so wonderfully, are the persons in the local churches who will drive the process. Under the guidance and leadership of the pastor, these PHPs, public health professionals,
yes,
will implement projects and sensitize and lift awareness and so on. That, I believe, to borrow Cordell's terminology, will be one of the continuing game changers. Because this is not new to the church space, but it is something that we constantly have to reinvigorate and make relevant to the context, the changing contexts that the churches have to encounter. So that is the linchpin, I believe, the PHP in the local church, helping the congregation to become healthy eaters,
yes,
and develop healthy
yes,
lifestyles.
yes.
And I suppose too that having others with you, because I think some people have tried it, but they're on their own, and so they get frustrated along the way, or you lose discipline and focus. But when you have a group of people doing this together, and you're accountable to each other, that can really be a positive, and I think that is something that the church can offer to the process.
Precisely.
Yes,
As a matter of fact, if I may say, my second health activity, I asked them to, because I was stressing the multi-mix principle and eating according to your colors, I threw out a challenge, thanks Jennifer, to those persons who want to, take it up for the week. And I got responses via the pictures, and somebody said to me, boy, I forgot now think about how I'm going to put the food on my plate. So it made them starting to think about combination, about eating their colors. Because I said to them, you don't only eat with your mouth, you eat with your eyes. So the food has to be appealing to you. So I even said to them, if I take you to my house or invite you and I'm giving you your nice rice and peas and your baked chicken and your potato salad and your carrot juice, and I put it on a plate and put it beside my garbage bin, which is full of garbage to eat, would you want to eat it? They said no. I said, why? So they said, because you put beside the garbage bin. I said, presentation is the key.
Yes.
So even if it is like a tin mackerel and rice as we put it, make it look good on the plate. Because when it appeals to your eyes, then your juices will start to flow. And I said to them, don't take off it at tin mackerel. When you look at it, see your omega-3 fatty acids. See your hearty food, not no flash out. You understand what I'm saying? Not no flash out. So when I try to redirect the thinking, because too many times the flash out get a knock because it's still mackerel. So as I said to the person, no man, look at it as your omega-3, your hearty food. Think of it that way. So it's a matter of redirecting the thinking and redirecting the taste buds.
Yes, fatty fish.
Yes,
very good.
Yes.
Mackerel and so on.
But you see, the issue of the narrative, and I'm happy for the point you've made in terms of helping people to see the thing differently. The changing the narrative is so important. Some of us who grew up in the country, the things you ate were because you were poor.
Right.
Yet later on, we're now learning that these are the healthy things.
Exactly.
And the things that you aspire to, which are not healthy, is when you have moved up socially and economically. So we need to get to the point where we help our children, especially those of us who are in rural Jamaica who have the natural ready-made food that is there, how to appreciate the value of them and not seeing it as this is the only thing you have because of your economic state.
Right.
Have to recognize
That's right.
the wealth that you have by using the things that you have right there with you. I mean, I know some places where youngsters are dying for certain fast foods to come.
Right, exactly.
And you kind of say, well, yeah, But what is this going to mean for the health of our people?
Right.
There's another thing that I'm really inviting the church community to look at carefully. I think that especially in these days, there's a strong emphasis in many religious spaces on the issue of healing.
Yes.
And when you think of it, much of what people come with for healing is really the result of poor management of their health.
That's
Absolutely.
right. That's right.
And so maybe as church, we need to put more focus or greater focus on prevention.
And so, if I might segue from Gary's point, the leadership for a lot of what needs to be done rests on our pastors who really have the call and the mandate to lead our people into healthy lives.
When persons can't afford, and that's always one of those challenges about the cost of eating healthily, and I suppose then the cost of not eating healthily as well. But you find some people who is a mere minimum they have. So they are going to try to see as much as they can get with the little they have, and sometimes what they can get is not what is healthy.
Right.
That's right.
And so that's a part
Right.
of the question of justice that I think we must wrestle with.
Precisely.
And then you talk about our local farmers. I mean, with this war now, we hear the price of fertilizers and so forth, and what
Yeah.
will be the implication
Yeah.
for the eating of our people or the people's eating habit.
Yes.
So these are some systems issue that I think we need to address if we're also going to help our people.